Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Poultry Keepers Podcast. In this episode, Jeff Maddox, Kerry Blackman, and Frank Reese Jr. finish up their discussion on breeding and managing heritage poultry flocks. So, let's get right to it.
Now, I've been able to do it with under 600. I bird rocks between 400 and 600 hens, and I've been able to maintain and keep the line going and keep enough genetic diversity because there was no place for me to go get anything new. And mine are the old rooster and bloodline that goes with that. Turkeys, you need to keep around 400, 500 hens. Now, if you're not capable of doing that, what would be nice, you can share your bloodline with 2 or 3 or 4 other people, and then you guys share eggs or share chicks, or maybe you go to your phone every year or two and you take a rooster and you bring a rooster in. But you got to know what a rooster does to a flock. You got to know what a hen does to a flock. They don't both do the same thing. You want to improve meat quality. Do your hens. The size of your hens will determine the size of your cockerels. You want to improve egg production, you do your roosters. If you want to improve color or the pattern that your variety has, pay attention to your rooster. He's one that's going to affect overall skeletal structure. Is going to come more from the hen. That's the big mistake a lot of people make with turkeys. So my toms are all dressing out 20 pounds, and my hens are dressing out 10 pounds. So I said, well, you need to get rid of the little bitty hen because it's the turkey hen that determines the size of your toms. And you can breed great big old toms. If you breed them on little bitty hens, they're still going to stay small because each is carrying the genes of his mom.
Got it.
But when I was a kid, there was many breeders of barred rocks. There was many breeders of New Hams. There was many breeders of Delawares or Wyandottes or whatever. And we all basically had somewhat the same line from the same background. And so we were able to share roosters or share eggs. And that's how we were capable of keeping things going at that level. A lot of that's gone today.
You got something you want to ask, Jeff? Go ahead.
If you're trying to do this and at least maybe break even, try to make money. I periodically get calls from people. How can I do what you do? Or how can I make money at what you do? If I knew 25 years ago when I started this national market, if I had any idea what it was going to entail, I probably wouldn't. Because it's been really difficult. It's fine. But now it's finally getting there. And now we have another farm back in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. And we have another breeder farm up in Nebraska. I'm getting old, but it's finally happening. And for the first time this year, finally we're going to do research. And I'm getting some attention from other people because of what you guys are doing, you're bringing the awareness to that. If you don't do the work ahead of time, like I always tell people when they say they want to do what I do, I say, before you ever get a bird, before you ever build a chicken house, figure out what it is you want to do. If you want to sell meat, if you want to sell eggs, go find out what your market is, what that market's capable of handling. Can you get my friend back east? He can get twice as much for a dozen eggs as I can. My friend out in Idaho and California, they can get 3 times what I can get for a dozen eggs for each eggs. So you have to determine that. And of course, I have a big, I raise thousands instead of just 20 or 30. I could get my feed for a third of what if you go and buy our feed in a bag at the feed store. you're paying a lot of money for a 50-pound bag of feed. Or if you've got to go and have your chickens processed at a small mom and pop processing plant, you're probably paying double what I pay to have chickens or turkeys processed. I have to figure out this. The other thing is not only find who's going to buy your birds or where your market is, what are your state laws and federal laws and regulations, and do I need state inspection, federal inspections? What is my rules and regulations for state health inspectors and animal inspectors? And do I have to vaccinate, or do I need to test my birds for pleurism and typhoid? Or do I need to test for MG? The list goes on and on. I spend a lot of money every year just blood testing birds. And so, thank goodness, a really good vet, bless her heart, she's learned about turkey diseases. Because it's not common vet schools for. And there's a lot to consider. But if you're just going to have a backyard, that's the symptoms. If you're just going to raise some quality meat that's better for you, because we've done all the research on that already, doing the research on the difference between my barred rock meat and the Cornish meat and what you buy at the grocery store. You can avoid all of that. You can dress your own chickens and feed your family without all the inspections and everything else. But most people at least want something decent looking when they dress it out.
So Frank,
Finding quality is really difficult.
yeah. Frank, what do you think about the new kind of craze behind the American breast? There's a lot of people chasing after the American breast chicken as basically the new, yeah.
French breeds, much about them.
Okay.
From the dress birds I've seen, they don't look any better than my new hams. They don't look any better than the Delawares I've seen. At least my new hams.
Yes.
A lot of people also confuse, like Freedom Rangers. I'll get people at Barred Rocks or whatever, and I'll go and visit their farm, and they're not. They're just mass-produced Cornish white chickens, Cornish rocks. The industry has put barred feathers on.
Yeah.
They still grow in 7 weeks. Barred feathers. Totally incapable of natural reproduction. There was Valroux, which started in France and everything. Of course, now by Tyson, they bought that label out. And it isn't a breed, it's whatever. It's more of a way of raising that particular breed, doing the naked necks and all that. Part of the thing is, you can go to Tyson's website. You can pull up all these chickens, and some of them they'll call them heritage, but they're all hybrid, some sort. None of them would ever meet the standards. They have been designed so you cannot reproduce them. They will grow much faster than mine. The American breeds, they had to on this. They didn't get in trouble with France. I don't see this, and people can raise whatever they want. It's a free country. In fact, I'm glad a lot of people raise these other things because it makes a difference from what I have. To me, the most important thing in poultry is what I was taught from the beginning, and that is to raise a balanced animal. And a balanced animal means that reproduction, muscle development, and health and welfare are all in balance. That you don't select one characteristic over another. If you select for massive meat production, you'll have no egg production and you'll have no fertility. If you select for high egg production, if you select for a hen to lay 320 eggs a year, she'll burn out in 2 years and you'll have no muscle mass. Both of those extremes, the high egg production or high meat production, will affect the health and well-being of the animal. So it's very important to me that I still select for the well-being of the animal. And so that means you may get less eggs a year, or you may take you 2 months longer to get them to market weight, but that animal is capable of producing themselves, running, jumping, and flying. And you could take my chickens to any country in the world. They could reproduce themselves and feed that family without any intervention of man. And all these chickens that are being sold to the grocery store would disappear with some form of intervention. Like the modern industrial turkey can no longer naturally mate. The industrial broiler is almost getting there, where it's going to be really difficult for them to naturally mate if they keep getting those legs shorter and their breasts broader and broader.
It's funny that you bring that up because right now there's 2 universities studying using the human drug metformin for diabetes, okay, to control and limit weight gain so they can extend.
In Arkansas, probably 10 years ago, where some of the growers that were written for one of the big corporations said, what are you going to do about the diabetes? This is nothing new. This is an issue that chronic enteritis is probably the biggest problem and that's a direct result of morbid obesity and rapid growth. But what happens is those little chicks are born with hyperthyroidism, and then about 3 weeks or 4 weeks into their development, the pancreas quits producing insulin, and then the chicken gets very fat. And the industrial broiler is a perfect specimen for human research on human obesity and diabetes, because that's what they have.
Now they're going the other way. They're going to use metformin to control this, to extend the breeder flock longevity, because they're tired of only.
You only got it there for 42 days. If you buy a fried chicken, Colonel Sanders, that chicken was killed in 38 days. Because they found out if you kill it 36, 38 days, you can get 10 pieces in a bucket. The Cornish rocks that you buy at the grocery store are a little older, maybe another week. They can get totally control their environment. You can probably get the majority of them to market. The breeders are the problem.
Right.
Keeping the breeders alive long enough, they have to put them on a starvation diet to keep it from getting morbidly obese, because the fatter the roosters get or the fatter the hens, then the sperm count is almost nothing. And they've got to do something. And so the chickens begin to consume a lot of water because they're hungry. And so then there's a lot of diarrhea, and the problems go on and on. It's like Dr. Ed Best told me a long time ago from Penn State. He said, what is sad is there are poultry scientists today who truly believe that they can outsmart Mother Nature. That as they begin to produce more and more of these little dwarf chickens, that whatever health issues they face, we can find a drug or a vaccine to fix it. And so eventually, Mother Nature will eventually win. You can push. Dr. Paul Siegel, the head geneticist in North Carolina, he says, their genetic diversity is not infinite. There is a limit to which you can push these animals genetically. They've already cut the amount of genetic diversity in the gene pool from their ancestor. So that's another list. You probably didn't have me talk about that, but you're right. The metformin's the next step to try to control the diabetes.
For the breeder flocks, they're trying to get some longevity out of the breeder flock because they can only get so many eggs out of those pullets or out of those hens, right? They can replace the roosters, right? So they'll replace the roosters 3 times in a breeding flock to keep in that weight range, but they can't do that with those hens. And by the time they hit 40 weeks old, they can't get them. The egg production falls apart. So they're only getting about 20 weeks of lay out of them, and that their breeders are lucky to hit 85% production. They're never going to hit the higher 90s.
The nickel and dime basis.
Yeah, but they keep doing it.
And so I know a lot of you. I've had the heads of Purdue here, Tyson, Liberty Foods, super kind people. I spoke in Washington at a meeting. Wonderful people. And I understand where they're coming from. But I've learned a lot from them. It's just not what I do. I've got hens out there that are 10, 12, 13 years old that are still laying.
And you can do that.
Yeah.
But people don't understand. But unfortunately, the American society,
understand it just doesn't fit into their.
The public thinks that our food is supposed to be cheap, right? And unfortunately, the U.S. spends the least amount of their earned dollar, their income, on food than any other nation in the world. Okay, of every dollar they earn.
I've got pictures of turkeys being sold at a meat market in the 1930s. And they were 25 a pound, which sounds cheap. But minimum wage, my dad said at that time, was 10 cents. But even in the 50s, when turkeys got up to 49, minimum wage was 75 cents. Can you imagine people paying minimum wage per pound for a turkey today?
Wouldn't happen. But that's what you should be getting for your standard bred turkeys.
Yeah.
Truthfully, in order for you
don't care about this anymore.
No.
They don't make any money off selling chickens or turkeys to grocery stores. That's not their market. That's more or less their giveaway.
Yeah. It's all in the processed food.
Yes.
One of per
71% of all broiler meat being raised worldwide goes to the fast food industry.
Yeah. Chicken nuggets, chicken tenders, something like that.
All the money. It's like turkeys. If you go to Subway or the sandwich shop or the deli and you buy good rich deli smoked turkey meat and you're paying $5, $6 for a 6-ounce package, take that times get it up to a pound, 16 ounces. Now all of a sudden that turkey that you bought at Thanksgiving that you paid 90 cents a pound now went up to $10, $12 a pound. So that's where all the money is.
Yep.
In fact, for all tall turkeys being raised commercial are now sold for value added. Because they can get a 40-pound tom in 19 weeks.
Yep. It's crazy. It's crazy what they can do.
They do what they have to do. They're brilliant. They're making money.
They are. The average public doesn't know the difference. So we're getting close to our time. One question so if people wanted to get your new hemp line, do you sell hatching eggs or do you sell chicks? So if somebody starts
Jersey, they go to Good Shepherd website. My partner, Jen, he will sell barred rocks, Delaware.
Okay, and these are all being selected for the standard.
I don't know. This is not the time of year to buy chicks. Now, I'm hatching a lot of chicks right now, but I've got the facilities to do it all year. I'm hatching right now for our research program. Plus, I don't ship. It's just too big getting too old to deal with all that shipping. Jed back in New Jersey, where he's got all the Delawares and their extra barred rocks, they all came from me. He's young and his wife is young, and they're doing a really good. And then Blake Bell up in Nebraska has got my barred rocks, my new hams, and he's also got he's got a number of mysteries that him and his wife are working on. They're a young couple; they just had a baby, and he's got a good eye for chickens and with eggs and whatever. He was born with that eye to be able to walk into a farm. And it's a good bird and that's a bad bird, and if I put that hen with that rooster, this is what I'm going to get.
So if people want your genetics, they need to come visit you.
I'm sorry, what?
So if people want your genetics, they need to come visit you in Kansas.
And you're splitting it basically.
Okay.
But we're probably going to have a bunch of them for sale after research. That'll be this time next year because the egg production research we're doing, I will take 9 to 10 months, and we'll start in April. So next December, we've got to have a bunch of bottom rocks. I've got a really nice flock of Orpingtons too. Blake's trying to get me to do the Morans. He's got a nice flock of Morans up there. I know nothing about that breed. I know when I see him at shows and so on, but I have no personal history of raising Morans. So I don't know what they're capable of doing.
Yeah. The New Hampshire seems to be the winner, or the Delaware, from what I've seen, because you can get pretty close to a 4-pound carcass on the cockerel at 14 or 15 weeks if under good management.
I'll bet we'll do them at 12.
Yeah, under good management, good feed, and all that, you don't have to wait forever on the New Hampshire or the Delawares. Yeah.
But those would be the ones that try to get you, but you can't. If you like them, once you get them going, make sure that you go back and don't go crossing them with everything. I encourage people to get up standards. I encourage people to join the APA, the only agricultural organization in America. Read up about if you choose the New Hampshire, if you choose the Delaware, if you choose the Rhode Island White, that's another good breed. Learn about them, research them, read the standards. One good Rhode Island Whites is a little more chemicals, and those are the ones because they're to be rose combed, and a lot of what I've seen coming out of hatcheries are single combs and about half the size it should be.
You don't really want one out of a hat.
Good Rhode Island White Club that can do that too. You can search and go to the Rhode Island White Club and contact some of the people focusing on that breed. There's a Plymouth Rock Club. It's probably one of the oldest clubs in America. But just make sure you have and learn what they should look like, how they should be built, what should they weigh, 10 weeks, what should they 16 weeks, what should their breeding weight be? A good barred rock rooster should weigh 9.5 pounds, and it doesn't, don't breed. It's like a good Jersey giant rooster should weigh 12, 14 pounds. So understand your breed and do the homework it takes to do that.
Yeah, the Jersey Giant takes too long to get there, though. You're not going to put meat on the table in a hurry with a Jersey Giant. So
no, you won't. The chicken you ever had.
Yeah, that's a true statement. That's a true statement. But
My mom's favorites.
Really? Okay.
All right, because they dressed out 5.5, 6 pounds. Mom didn't care much for fried chicken. She liked roast chickens. She'd get 2 young Jersey Giant roosters in a big turkey roasting pan. And that was 12 pounds of chicken. And she said that was the best eating you ever had.
It's a lost art to know how to cook those. There's not many people left that know how. Yeah. So,
is there anywhere that you know of that someone could get some recipes or do some research on how to prepare a heritage bird?
I think one of the important things is go to books or go to any of these book places or whatever, buy a cookbook, print prior to 1950, and follow what it tells you. Because the chicken everybody eats today didn't exist 60 years ago. Real fast, one, my friend was the fixed cocoa oven. So he came and got a chicken from me, and he fixed it and brought it back. And I said, "This is awful." I says, "I don't know what you did," but he'd gotten Martha Stewart's cook, but she revised her cookbook into the 60s to meet the modern industrial chicken. I told him to take that chicken back, put it back in the pot, cook it for another 3 hours, and bring it back. Him and his wife, because she's a chef and she's graduated from culinary school. And she's mastered. She's worked hard to come up with lines. But if you can get a cookbook was printed in the 20s or 30s and follow it, pay attention to the temperatures and that time it takes to cook them. Now you can, the thing was, to get fried chicken done back in the 20s and 30s and 40s, you had pan fried, bread the chicken, put the lid on the steam and break it down, and then bring it back up and crisp it in. His big secret is he learned how to pressure fry, because he started with Plymouth Rocks. He didn't have industrial broilers, and he cut the cooking time down in half by learning how to fry that chicken in a pressure cooker. So, if they get one of my chickens, I said, well, then you ruined it. You didn't cook, or you didn't pay attention about cooking it.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things you can do is you can take that chicken, cut it, put it in the pressure cooker, pressure it under about 16 pounds for about 5 minutes, turn it off, cool off, put it in the refrigerator, then take it back out and put it in the frying pan, and you'll have fried chicken as tender as you want. 15. So there are ways of doing it.
Yeah. Either low and slow, or you pre-cook it, pressure cook it, just like you said, and then as soon as it cools off, you can bread it, and you just finish frying it to crisp it up. It's really already cooked, but yeah. So
it's been around for 200 or 300 years.
Yep.
And they didn't have this modern industrial chicken up until about in the early 60s. All those years before, and all those hundreds of chicken, and we ate every Sunday. They were barred rocks, and we ate a lot of fried leghorns. They were as good and tender. People don't know how to cook it.
Yep.
That's true too.
They're very used to eating bakers. That's what everybody else. That little chicken that 4-pound chicken you buy at the grocery store is only 6 weeks old when it was killed. So
Frank,
a whole bunch of flab and fat.
Frank, we're at our time. We're at our time for the show. Anyway, one last, just give them the most important advice for starting the adventure you're on. Well, what's the best tidbit you can give them?
Just tell me what your goal is. What is it you want to do? And then pick a breed that just delights you. You just love watching. And you'll put up with all kinds. If that barred rock pattern speaks to you, or if that Rhode Island red pattern speaks to you, or when you look through the standard book and you're just blown away by the beauty of the Brahma, then become the best light Brahma breeder that you can become. And before you master that, spend time studying, talk to other breeders, talk to people that have been at it for a long time. You can learn so much by doing that. Try to buy from individual breeders, if at all possible, and get to know that person.
Probably not the poultry show, though, right?
It all depends on what the breed is. Some of the breeds haven't been screwed up yet. Some of them, a 4-foot tail on a Leghorn rooster is not going to produce you any more. May be pretty in the cage, but it ain't going to do for that utility, for egg productions. Sometimes, though, even if you get some of those, hidden within the genes of that bird is its ancestor. And if you breed select, you can bring it back out again. I would say a lot of those shorebirds are probably closer to their ancestor than what you're going to get from the catalog.
That's true.
Now, some of the really that's not fair, the more unusual varieties like the Kubalays or the Rapapors or the Chameaux or some of those breeds usually aren't too bad because they're so rare and there's so few of them that messed them up. What they've messed up is what I call the historical American utility breed, the old working chickens of America, the Barred Rocks, the New Hams, the Delawares, the true American breeds, the Wyandottes. Those are the ones that are screwed up and are real, and they need a lot of work. The ones that fed America for the first 100 years. But first of all, fall in love with the breed that you pick. Just also make sure you have a good clue of what you want that bird to do and what that bird is capable of doing. If you just want a bunch of eggs, then get whatever. Buy catalog Barred Rocks and that have been selected for egg production. They're half the size, but they're not going to be mate birds.
No,
And I'm
not at
all
all.
about preservation. I'm all about saving genetic diversity. That was the main thing. About 25 years ago, I began to realize all the people that I knew that I got turkeys from my whole life were all dying and disappearing, and along with them, all the birds. So I'm very proud that my bronze turkeys had been here on this farm in Kansas since 1917. And I'm working really hard to save them from extinction, because once they're gone forever, you can never bring them back. So,
Frank, we appreciate your time, and we appreciate you coming on and telling us about what you've got going on and telling us about the heritage breeds. We certainly do appreciate it.
all right, thank you. If they have any questions, then go to the website, to Good Shepherd Conservancy.
All right. That sounds
Sure.
great.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Poultry Keepers Podcast. Be sure to listen to a new episode next Tuesday. Until then, keep learning, keep improving, and keep enjoying the birds you love.